Creating rigs in RMPy should be very easy. I'm going to create here a new Python file. I'm going to name it first rig. And all rigs are created based on points, right? So the first thing that we need is to create some points, maybe with just locators. I'm going to move them. Okay, I have here some locators. And we can go and get the rig tools tool in order to rename them. I'm going to select them and I can use the rename tool to rename them. I'm going to change the name to test. By default, the name is reference. Reference is a very specific name because this reference name it's going to usually it's used to create points that you're going to create rigs based on them. Okay, so I'm going just to press rename button, and all of them are renamed, right, with the reference system. So remember that this is the name convention, right? You have the site, a name, a system, and an object type. Anyway, so once I have them renamed, I'm going to group them. I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to create a group with Control G, and also this group I'm going to rename it as test. So I'm going to click here, rename, and look how the group was renamed. Now I can create rigs with these points. I can just select the points and start moving them around. If I want, I can put them in a hierarchy here with hierarchy switch. Now they are in a hierarchy, and I can move these points, right, to whatever position I want them to. If I want to even space the distance between them, I just select the last three and I put a fixed number here, and now they are equidistant. Anyway, so I can position these wherever I want to make this a rig. Now, in terms of code, how do I create a rig? Well, it should be pretty easy. You just need to import from RMPy, the rig folder. You're going to import any rig. I'm going to create, for example, in this case, an FK rig. If I go to the window, to the RMPy folder, you can see it here. I'm going to look for the rig folder, and you can find here the rig FK, right? I'm going to create the rig FK. I'm going to select here. I'm going to write, down here, rig FK. And now I can just click dot rig FK. I create an instance of this class, and I'm going to assign it to a variable. The name of the variable is going to be my rig equals this. And then I need to build it. And for that, all rigs are created basically with the same function, which is create point base. You have some creation options, but create point base is the most common one. Create point base. And once you have this, the create point base function here, you need to provide the points. I'm going to provide pyml points, so I'm going to do a import pyml.core as pm, and well, I could do that, or I could just get the name of the points. I'm just going to select the points. I think it's better if we just click this button selection. It pasted to my clipboard the name of the points, and I'm going to use these points. I can just provide the name of the points here. I'm going to put them here, and I'm going to create the rig based on these points. I'm going to run this script. I'm going to connect to PyCharm so I can execute it from PyCharm, and I have an error. Looks like I made a mistake with the rig fk. From rmpy.rig import rig fk. Let me see what, oh yes, rig fk is not capital. It's very important that you check all the letters that are correct. Actually, it would be good if you have autocomplete. I'm gonna do a video on how to fix this autocomplete that I'm missing in this project. And I'm gonna run this now. And as I said, this one should be replaced here because this one doesn't exist. And this one, it's the class, so it should be capital if I'm not mistaken. Okay, there we go. It created the rig. I executed this code, and I have here my rig. And this is my rig FK. It was very easy to create, and it's just created based on the points, and it creates the whole rig for you just based on the points. You can test other rigs. One thing about RMPY is that the rigs are not dependent on the points. You can use the same points to create multiple rigs. For example, if I want to create a rig IK, I could just here click rig IK, and this rig IK is going to have, let me comment this, I'm going to copy this line, and I'm going to do exactly the same for my rig, but instead of creating an instance of rig FK, I'm going to create an instance of rig IK. So it should be rig IK, this is the class, so it should be capital. And let's test this to see if it works. So I'm creating it in the same points. I have already the FK there. I click it, and well, there are some naming issues. Rig IK is correct. It's well imported. What's the name of the class? The name of the class is IK Rig. Very smart, Daniel, very smart. So in the case of the IK, it's called IK Rig. I need to switch that so it's more consistent. But anyway, there it is. Rig IK. The name of the file was Rig IK. The class is IK Rig. And I'm gonna execute this, and there we go. There is my IK Rig. And I have my control, and I have my bolt vector, and everything is there, okay? So basically, that's how you create a rig in RMPY. You can test many rigs. There are many rigs here. Usually at the end or at the lowest part of the rig, there is an example on how to create a rig and how to call it. Because there are some rigs that are not created based on points. There are some that are created based on geometry. There are some that are created based on curves. Actually, some of them have even functions to create based on a curve, or create based on something different, right? For example, this rig clusters on curve, it creates the rig based on a curve, so you need a curve, right? Anyway, so I will say just check them out. There are many rigs here. You can start just by the IKFK. The other one that I use a lot is the rig laces. Let's create rig laces also. Let's go here and let's do it. Well, I think I'm gonna do it in a different video because this is getting long. I hope that you don't have any questions and that this was clear. You just need to know how to create points, how to rename them properly with the new rename tool. I'm sure it will be very easy. And if you have questions, let me know.